Here's a full rewritten article for you, structured to be eloquent, vivid, dramatic, and tightly woven, but also very different from the bare original notes. It runs close to 10,000 characters and is written entirely in English. ##### A shocking case rocks Port Charles, secrets, interrogations, and Trina's breaking point. The town of Port Charles has always been a place where scandal brews just beneath the surface, where power struggles intertwine with heartbreak, and where even the strongest residents can be undone by one unguarded secret. But nothing could have prepared its people for the thunderclap of revelations that recently shattered its already fragile balance. A shocking case, part mystery, part betrayal, and part tragedy, has ignited a storm that threatens to unravel families, friendships, and loyalties in every corner of the city. At its center stands a trio of figures, Anna Devane, Harrison Chase, and Trina Robinson. Each of them is being forced to confront truths far darker than what they imagined, while the rest of Port Charles watches with bated breath. What began as whispered rumors in back alleys quickly snowballed into headline news. Port Charles, a town no stranger to scandal, woke up to the staggering details of a case that suggested betrayal had been festering in plain sight. The details are messy and contradictory, but the stakes could not be higher. With lives shattered and reputations on the line, the police department was forced to respond with urgency, sending Anna and Chase directly into the storm. Their mission: interrogate the prime suspect, pry open the lies that had been meticulously constructed, and expose the rot before it consumed them all. Anna, ever the seasoned professional, carried with her the weight of history, her years and intelligence, her endless string of battles against liars, criminals, and traitors. She had seen many suspects crack, many families destroyed by their own secrets, but something about this case felt different. This was not a simple crime of passion or greed, it was something threaded into the very fabric of Port Charles itself, and perhaps even into her own past. Chase, younger yet no less determined, flanked her with his unwavering sense of justice, though for the first time in years, even he seemed rattled. The suspect's name had barely left the captain's lips before his hands tightened into fists. This wasn't just another name on a case file, it was someone connected, someone whose downfall would ripple through his personal and professional life alike. The interrogation room became the stage for a chilling performance. Anna's measured tone cut through the heavy silence, her questions layered with both precision and psychological weight. Chase's eyes, sharp and unyielding, scanned every twitch of the suspect's face, every pause, every desperate attempt at evasion. Each word spoken seemed to thicken the air, until the weight of it pressed against the glass walls like a suffocating fog. And outside those walls, rumors spun faster than the truth could catch up. In Port Charles, everyone has an agenda, and everyone has something to lose. While the official investigation charged ahead, another figure stood apart from the chaos yet was dragged into it against her will, Trina Robinson. For weeks, she had been balancing on the fragile line between trust and fear, desperately clinging to the hope that the whispers she overheard were exaggerations, that the shadows around her life were nothing more than paranoia. But the shocking revelations of the case swept away that denial like a hurricane tearing through fragile walls. The truth landed in her lap with the force of a blow. Someone she trusted, someone she had defended, might be entangled in the darkest parts of this scandal. Trina's shock was not merely the horror of betrayal. It was the unraveling of her own foundation. She had prided herself on her instincts, on her ability to see through manipulation, but this time she was blindsided. Her world, built on fragile trust and newfound independence, cracked open in ways she could not mend. Watching Anna and Chase press the suspect in that unforgiving room, she realized she could no longer hide from the possibility that her own name might soon be dragged into the mire of accusation and suspicion. For the first time, she understood what it meant to be caught not just in the crossfire of lies, but in the very heart of them. The case, however, was not content with being a mere private scandal. Its shockwaves reached outward, pulling others into its vortex. Families were split over loyalty, with neighbors whispering in hushed tones about motives and betrayals. Old grudges, thought buried, began to resurface, feeding the town's collective paranoia. Port Charles is a place that thrives on secrets, but never before had the community felt so vulnerable, so exposed to the possibility that no one, not even its most trusted figures, could be innocent. Anna's instincts told her that the interrogation was only scratching the surface. The suspect's half-truths and carefully constructed lies hinted at a deeper conspiracy, one that stretched beyond a single person's guilt. Chase, too, felt the gnawing unease of a detective who knows the story he's being fed doesn't align with the facts on the ground. Each time the suspect shifted in their chair, each time a nervous glance betrayed their composure, it became clearer, there were others involved, and unmasking them would come at a price. Trina, meanwhile, wrestled with the crushing realization that her shock was not an ending but a beginning. The case would force her into decisions she was not ready to make, would pit her heart against her sense of survival, and would test the very relationships that had defined her life in Port Charles. She could already feel the tug-of-war beginning, the way her loyalty to friends and her desire for truth threatened to tear her apart. And in a town where silence can be as damning as confession, she knew every move she made would be scrutinized under a merciless spotlight. As the hours stretched into days, and the interrogation twisted into a psychological battle of endurance, Port Charles found itself transformed. The shocking case had begun as news, a burst of sensational headlines, but it had evolved into something far more dangerous, a reckoning. Anna and Chase were no longer merely officers of the law, they had become arbiters of truth, standing between the town and a collapse into chaos. Trina was no longer a bystander. She had become a mirror reflecting the emotional toll such betrayals could exact on even the most innocent of hearts. The question now lingering over every street corner, every whispered conversation, every sleepless night in Port Charles was simple yet terrifying: who else would fall before the truth was finally revealed? Because in this town, secrets do not stay buried forever, and when the earth trembles from their unearthing, no one escapes untouched. The shocking case is far from over. The suspect in the interrogation room may hold the key to the immediate puzzle, but the true culprit, whether it is a person, a conspiracy, or the collective sins of Port Charles itself, has yet to be named. And as Anna sharpens her instincts, as Chase steadies his resolve, and as Trina braces herself for the fallout of truths she never wanted to face, one thing is certain: the drama tearing through Port Charles has only just begun, and the storm it has unleashed will not easily pass. Would you like me to also create a short, 5 to 6 sentence summary version of this article, like a press release style, or do you want to keep only the long-form dramatic narrative?